Welcome to the channel, everybody. We are playing the Unreal world today, continuing our Caveman series with episode number 4. If you missed a few or you need to get caught up, I've got the link for this playlist down below, as well as a ton of other Unreal World series that I've done here on YouTube. So if you're a fan of this game, check it out. Also down below is the Steam page. So if you want to pick it up or put it on your wish list, it's just one click away. But so far up to this point in the series, we've had tons of good luck, starting with the very first day when we ran away from our captors as a runaway slave and did pretty well after that with hunting and whatnot. We've had a few animals get away, but it's been very eventful. Now, the next step is still ahead of us. We've got to get ourselves to a cave. Can't be a caveman run without a cave. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's jump into it and get ourselves prepared for the long journey north. And we find ourselves at our original shelter point with Week, the main character of our adventure. He has a fairly decent physical profile. Intelligence, he's not the greatest, but his willpower is very strong. Speaking of strength, he's actually above average. Endurance is good. Most importantly, though, for us, we wanted somebody who had a maximum speed. So he does. He is a very fast character. Unfortunately, like I said, not the brightest though, but that hasn't really hindered us so far. So let's check out his skills too. This is something I don't always show off, or if I do, I usually flip past it real quick, but you can see we've made a little progress in stealth since starting. Other than that, we just got a tiny sliver in cookery, and I see a little bit of timbercraft too. We haven't done any agriculture yet, but that is his most competent skill. We'll probably get into that too at some point. Obviously, we got to wait for the ground to thaw and the winter to pass. Speaking of which, we are at the 8th week before midwinter point. Currently, before we can travel north to our cave, we've got 12 days before our dried badger cuts are finished. So I'd like to have everything perishable, meaning the furs, the meat and stuff, all with us for the trip north, so we can just move right into whatever cave we find up there, and we don't have to come back down here unless it's some sort of emergency. Let the crafting begin. So in order to pass as much time as possible while we wait for our meat, I'm going to craft up a whole new set of gear for Week. And starting with a bag, actually I'll probably make 2 bags. These are very helpful for carrying food and water. So we're just going to go ahead and start to use up the fur that we've got here. I'll use the rest of the badger fur and then finish it off with that. Don't worry, it's not that big of a material cost here, so we'll still have plenty left over to make some fur clothes. We probably won't have enough to make an entire set of fur clothing with just one big kill. You usually need like 2, maybe sometimes 3 good elk furs depending on size, but at least we can make the essentials, you know. But let's get started with the second bag. This one I'll use for water. In fact, let's go ahead and just fill it up real quick while we've got it. There we go, fill with water. The second one I'm actually going to put my meat into, and I've explained this before, but it's kind of just a handy little thing. Normally if you're hungry, you have to eat in little bites, you know. So especially if you have dried or smoked meat, sometimes you have to eat up to 3 or 4 times just to get full. But when you put that meat in a bag, it's just one big bite. You just shove your face in the bag and you eat it all till you're full, and you don't have to keep clicking the same buttons again and again. And of course, in a game like this, which is dependent on the keyboard, minimizing your button clicks is a big deal. Boy, oh boy, it goes quick, let me tell you what. So that harsh winter elk fur that we had over 19 pounds of, down to 1.7. But the good news, look at all this stuff. So I have made basically everything that says rough, we made ourselves, which is typical unless you put a bunch of points into that skill, the textile working or whatever. But look at this, we got our head very well covered with the hood, mask, and niska. I believe that goes like over the face somewhere. But we've also got a cap, a shirt, which was 7 pounds of fur, the loincloth, because I couldn't make pants yet. We didn't have enough. And the chest cover, which is good. Some of this stuff is obviously not a part of vanilla. It's included with the mods and stuff, so you can actually get a bit better covering this way. Also, we can see, yeah, our warmth protection now in a color layout. So our hands are the worst. And we need our knee protection and maybe better feet protection. So ultimately at this point, though, we're going to need to layer in a different kind of hand cloth. So in other words, we need leather or wool mittens to put on our hands, because we can't double fur essentially. So hope that makes sense. But anyway, we're doing really well, and like I said, I've got a little bit left. I'll probably just keep it around, and we'll use that at the start of our next bit of fur crafting. But right now, we're almost done with this leather, and then we got another full round of good crafting to go. And 9 days left. I'm actually thinking once we get the leather going, because I could do some leather gloves, we'll head north, even if the meat's not done. We can always come back here. It doesn't take that long to trek across the world. Oh, well, the leather is complete. The crafting has been done. So let's put on our new leather clothes. And again, this is not a full set. Don't quite have enough to make all the pieces, but we can put everything in black on because I'm using the wear command. Unfortunately, I made these shoes, but they don't go on with the fur footwear. This is like one of the few body parts you can't layer stuff on, even if it's different types. I could find some socks. I'm pretty sure we can get woolen socks to help with our feet, but there also might be a better option like leather boots too that might keep us warm. But let's put on what we can. There we go. And let's take another quick peek here at our protection against cold. Much better, much better. Nothing is in the red. Even the worst parts of us are still average. So I feel good. We can probably withstand some of the coldest parts now of winter. Maybe not the absolute depths of the cold season, but we're pretty close. Like I said, just a little bit more on our extremities. So let's go ahead and drop our extraneous stuff, which unfortunately does include the arrows. I don't need those. I was looking to make a bow, but I can't figure out how to make the bow string for whatever reason. I just could not find it in the crafting menu, but we won't worry about that because I'm ready to hit the road. I'm actually a little bit tired of crafting. I've gone through it a bunch at this point, but that's okay because like I said, we're going to do an adventure. Now it is basically the middle of the night, but we're good to go. It's a little dangerous traveling like this, but quite honestly, I've been ambushed by robbers in the broad daylight too, so honestly I don't think it makes a huge difference. But north is our destination. We're headed towards the white triangle, and of course any other caves that we uncover on the way or once we get there, we're definitely going to investigate. Well, the sun has come out and we have arrived. There it is, just dead ahead. You can see what looks like a mountain. Let me shed a little light on it if possible. Yeah, you can just see what looks like a mountain, but it's got a little black hole in it. And whenever you walk onto a cave, you automatically enter that territory. Now, unlike most mountains, it's more akin to walking into like a village essentially, but it's not necessarily inhabited. In fact, in all my time, I don't know if I've ever found an animal in a cave, but I shouldn't say that because you know how it goes. This moment you say something like that, it's the first time we come across one. So let's zoom in here a little bit. This is interesting. Of course, normally I like to stay zoomed out when we're investigating like hunts or whatever animals, but I think here we can look a little closer. Now this might be tough. Notice the darker line here on the elevation change. This indicates that this is a cliff, and to get up here we're going to need to climb. Yeah, see, if I try to move into that space there, it asks me, are you sure you want it? This is quite steep. Do you want to use your climbing skill? I'm going to say no. See, our climbing is not very good, so well, let's move around. Maybe there's a second entrance, although I doubt it. This is a big cave, too. Wait, oh, that's just a little cranny there, not an entrance. Yeah, there's more cliffs here, but we can go around these. I mean, I could try to get in the cave and explore it, but the whole point in coming up here is to find one we're going to live in permanently, right? So I don't want to try and have to climb those cliffs every single time. We want to go into our home. Even if there was just like one little space we could get in. No, doesn't look good. Ah, well, you know what that means? The hunt for a new home continues. Well, sure enough, I found another cave. In fact, I found two side by side. Now, this is fairly rare. I don't think I've ever seen this for sure. There's the other cave we just left, the one with the cliffs, just over there to the east. But these two might be very interesting. I don't see much benefit for us having two side by side, but at least it gives us some variety to choose from, right? All right, before we go in, let's just circle around it here. Okay, you know what? Dang it. I made a bunch of torches when we were back at camp. That was another thing I did while I was just waiting on the leather to finish. And I left them, but that's okay. Torches are super easy to make. We just need branches, which I can get from some trees nearby. All right, so we've gone around the cave. It's of modest size, but one thing I noticed, is that there are no cliffs blocking our way to the entrance, at least none that I can see. The unique thing about the cave is, of course, the blackness doesn't go away when you're facing it. There is something to climb there. You need a torch to open this up. Or we could, I think, make a fire, but I'm starting to worry here, actually. Oh, no. This is why it would be dangerous if there was an animal in here, because you would basically have to stumble into it before you would see it if you're not prepared. But I can tell even without a torch, it's not letting me in, because there are some cliffs here. Man, oh man, that stinks. Well, tell you what, I need to spend a little bit of time here just making some branches, or making some torches out of branches. But like I said, we'll head to that other one. Okay, well, before we headed out, I decided to grab some stuff to make torches, and I lit a fire just here on the edge of the darkness, and you can see now that there clearly is a cliff face right in front of us here. It's unfortunate, but it's not totally unexpected. These are mountains, essentially. So, we're going to leave this one. I think before we do, let's do a little sacrifice inside the cave. I'm still carrying around those elk cuts. Shockingly, they have not gone stale yet. But again, that's due to the cold weather. So, there we go. We feel at ease after our sacrifice. Let's go ahead and zoom out for exploration mode. And I can probably locate the other cave. I imagine it's just over here. Yeah, we don't have to move to the world map at all. Let's see if we can do that. Yep, there it is. You see the sides of it coming up. Beautiful. Again, not much benefit other than just more selection. So let's do the same thing. We'll go all the way around it. This one looks a little bit more open on the inside, doesn't it? All right, let's get in there. Now, unfortunately, very stupidly, I used all my branches for that fire, so let me grab a few and we'll start a fire inside the cave and explore it. Alright, let's get our fire started here. Gonna take a couple of tries. It's weird too, each time you try and light it inside the cave, it asks you to confirm it. But I think it's similar to lighting it indoors, essentially. So there we go. I've got just a tiny little fire started, but it should be enough to light this up. There we go. Alright, so now we have a lit torch, and we can move. As you can see now, the darkness is dissipating as we go in here. Okay, very good. This one's pretty open. Yeah, it's got a couple of columns of steep, well, basically wall here. You can see these dark gray, which is interesting right there in the center. But you know what I like about it? The mouth of this cave is only 1 wide, so it's fairly small. We've actually got some cliff face inside the very depths of the cave, so probably won't be accessing that. But I mean, it's big enough, and we could put a door here. In fact, I intend to block this off. I know we said we're not going to do any higher construction, but we are going to cheat a little bit, and I want to at least be able to seal the entrance of the cave with a little bit of walls and some doors. So this one might work. You know what I'm going to do here is we're going to mark it on our map. We'll say these are white. We'll make it white. That seems appropriate. And we'll just say possible. Possible cave. Alright, but we are going to be picky. As I've stressed before playing this game, or in any open-ended sandbox game, you want a place that you really, really like, that you fall in love with, that is special in some way, even if it's kind of cheesy, because otherwise you won't be interested in coming back again and again and continuing to play, you know, beautifying or improving your home. So, like I said, I don't want to just settle for any old cave, but as you can see by these two side by side, the availability is pretty high up north, so we'll just continue our journey. Oh, now I like this one. Here's something we haven't discussed really much. I think I mentioned it, but the cave we choose needs to have water close by it. And as you can kind of see, it is here. There's a small pond right here, a couple of tiny little water puddles right there and there. And yes, we are on the slopes of a mountain here with a nice cave just up ahead. So there it is. Oh yeah, this one's not too far from the last position we were at. So let's take a look. It's kind of in between. Yeah, that other one. This is the one I just marked. Here we are. And then we're about halfway to the civilization. I started heading eastward just because I wanted to be close to that culture. I realized they actually have quite a bit of good stuff there. They're a fairly wealthy culture. I mean, at least from what little I saw of them. But anyway, you can see I've got a tiny fire started here just in front of the cave. So let's explore. Oops, I think I want to do this with the action button. There we go. Alright, we're going in. I can clearly see some cliffs here, but there's also a way up. Okay, good, good. Oh, I like this one a lot. Okay, okay. Yes. Yep. We have access to almost every part of it. There's a little bit of cave or cliff area right over there too. And it goes down here a little too steep for us to get to the very bottom, but that's okay. This entire interior is good to go. All right. Really, all we need is some sort of stove on the interior, just so we can smoke things during the summer in the humid months, which is possible. I have tested that before in previous series. Like I say, you gotta... and you might not even have to put a door on it. Maybe we'll test that before we actually construct anything. That way we don't have to cheat by actually building stuff. But again, if we do, this one's pretty perfect because I can put a wall piece to the north, to the south, and then a door right here in the middle. And it's pretty much, I think, it'll be closed off. We might need a double door. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell without actually laying it down. But like I said, we'll try and avoid it. We'll wait till the summer, and maybe we can actually do a little bit of smoking in here. That'll be fantastic without a door. But either way, guys, I think this is going to be it. There's not a lot of foliage around, a couple trees on the slope, so we will need to be very careful with what we cut down. Although if we go a little farther out, I can see some trees there, so that's good. And we do have a tree trunk. We got lucky once again, so we'll bring this up the slope here to start with. Boom, there we go. All right, so we'll move this right inside. This, of course, we'll use this as a surface for beating out the skins of the animals we get and stuff, but I'm going to start the slow process of making this our new home. Obviously, I didn't bring anything with me, really, than the clothes on my back and my meat. I didn't even bring the torches I made for the trip, but that means everything is to the south still, and we're going to have to go retrieve it from here, but hopefully this little excursion took enough time that when we get back there, that meat will almost be ready. Take a look at that. The food is done. This was our first very big kill. It's all elk meat. Of course, we got some leftover cordage, which is good. Now, I am actually going to leave that cordage here at this location. I already moved a bunch of our stuff up to the cave, so that's prepared. Well, as good as it can be for right now. But we've been waiting on the food, so we're ready to get it all moved. This, like I say, is staying though, so I see no reason to abandon these shelters completely. In fact, they're in a really good spot. because now that we're set up and we know where we're going to be staying, I can venture out and kind of just do a big circuit here of all this hunting ground. And if we get a big kill in this location, we can prepare it here. No reason not to, as long as it's winter time and we can dry things. Once smoking season comes around, we'll have to stay at our cave, but that's okay too. We'll worry about that later. But now this one's also stocked with cordage too, so we're ready, like I say, for anything. There's a little bit left here. Oh, the badger cuts. There's like 10 badger cuts ready at the evening time. I think I'll probably stick around here until then, but another big thing we need to do is go get an axe. Now that I've got all this food, I can probably afford at least a small hand axe, and I need to set aside about 30 cuts or so to hire somebody. If we hire an NPC at one of the villages with an axe, he can make us some boards. And even though we can make boards for ourselves once we get an axe, the NPCs often make really good quality boards. So we'll use that for crafting and stuff. And they're usually quick about it. They do that while we do other stuff, so it maximizes our time. So, like I said, I'm going to hang around here for another day or so till this is ready, and then we'll head back into the culture and do a little bit of trading. Now, this is a big deal right here. So, I just got a northern bow for 152 of those dried elk cuts, which is unfortunately the majority of them, but I'm definitely going to accept that. Like I say, right now the bow is one of the few things I'm having trouble actually crafting on my own. There it is, the northern bow. That is one of the best kinds of bows in the game. The only way it could be better is if it was like of better quality. But there we go. Now, unfortunately, I did leave those arrows. No, I had the arrows. Nice. All right, so we can go ahead and wield an arrow too. Boom, we are ready to go. And despite the fact that he's not great with the bow, it is a game changer being adequately prepared here, even for, combat we might have to get engaged with. But now comes to the bad news. As I feared, this northern tribe, despite their wealth in furs and meat and bows and arrows, they don't really have a lot of axes, at least not in the couple of villages I've checked. So I haven't looked at any villagers yet. I didn't want to recruit anybody until I was actually ready to go. But, oh, he has a hand axe. We might be able to trade with the people individually. So if we hit trade, let's see. Oh, no, he doesn't have anything. Sometimes I think they will trade you items if they've got extra or whatever. But no, that guy at least wouldn't. So, I might still check a few of the villages. There are plenty of them here, so we can go in the rounds. Maybe I'll just do a quick loop and head back. If there's no axes there, we'll just hire somebody. Because really the reason I need an axe is to make our skis. Yeah, because I can't do that with just a knife, unfortunately. And you cannot have the NPC craft things for you. Not at least more complicated than boards. So, yeah, we're going to need at least a hand axe. But, like I said, we got a few more villages to check. So, I'll go through that. And, of course, when I find what I need, I'll show you guys. But if I fail too, you'll be right there with me to suffer. But anyway, I think we'll end today's episode right here as we get into the exploration. Don't worry, we'll pick it up right where we left off on the next one. I hope you're enjoying the series, everybody. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and check out all those different playlists I got below if you get all caught up and you want more Unreal World content. Anyway, guys, thank you again, and I will see you on the next one. Hey everyone, I just want to give a personal thank you to my Patreon supporters. Their contributions help make my work possible, and I am tremendously grateful to them. I'd also like to extend an invitation to you to help support my work on Patreon as well. Your donations allow me to upgrade my PC and avoid the dreaded hardware despair. It also gives me more time to devote to new projects and create longer content such as live streaming. No matter what you decide, thank you for visiting my channel.